Those who've lived through a book know. The male lead in that Nanping novel is completely off limits. Any woman who gets close won't just be used, but abandoned, and end up as a stepping stone for his rise. But my cousin Chun didn't get it. She saw the blood-soaked man, ignored my warnings, and mocked me for adopting a dying hag. I, however, walked right past the man and held the old woman up, because I knew she was the one truly blessed by fortune. Later, Chun took the man, Shen Zhao, home. She gloated. Look, my husband-to-be is so handsome. You, on the other hand, brought home a sick old woman. You're hopelessly stupid. She always had to compete with me, thinking she'd found treasure. She ignored my pleas and insisted on marrying Shen Zhao, but she didn't know the world we lived in was a Nanping novel. Any woman near the male lead ends up as his stepping stone. A year later, Shen Zhao topped the imperial exams. He immediately demoted Chun to concubine, driving her nearly to suicide. Me? I studied hard with my adopted mother, learned poetry and arts, and she introduced me to the Empress Dowager. I became her trusted aide, rising to a royal female official. Who would have thought? My adoptive mother's friend was the Empress Dowager. That day, I met two refugees at the village entrance, a man and a woman. One young, one old. The man was handsome, even covered in blood and dirt. His coarse clothes couldn't hide his charm, drawing stares from village girls. They whispered, but their families forbade them from taking a strange man home. Only Chun and I could make that choice ourselves. That didn't stop the onlookers. Hey, young master, beg these two ladies. They have no elders to answer to, and they're not betrothed. Maybe one will take you home as a husband. Hearing this, he looked at us hopefully. Chun and I are cousins, similar in looks, the girl next door type. Not breathtaking beauties, but pretty enough. He reached for my hem. Ladies, have mercy. Pity me. Chun rushed to help him up. Proudly, she said, "Come home with me, sir. My cousin's inferior to me in every way." She glared at me. "This man is mine. Don't you dare compete, or I'll throw mud in your yard." I smiled faintly. "You worry too much. I'm not interested." She was overthinking. I remembered my aunt's warning. If he had grabbed my ham, he'd have met my foot, not a smile. A swift, merciless kick. I'm a village girl. Not well read, but I know propriety. A woman's virtue is everything. Marriage is a gamble. How could I trust my life to a complete stranger, a man I knew nothing about? I wouldn't choose him, and I didn't want my cousin to either. As the man held Chun's hand gratefully, I shot her a look. Think twice. Are you sure? You want to marry him? Do you even know his name? Or if he has a wife? Chun paused, then asked him, "What's your name? Do you have a family?" He quickly smiled. "I'm Shen Zhao. Not married. If you're willing, we can wed tonight." He was handsome, and Chun was smitten. Holding his hand, she scolded me. "Cousin, you have no sympathy, and you want to ruin this for me. That's too much." Hearing his name, I knew her fate was sealed. My aunt was a transmigrator. On her deathbed, she told me, "Our world is a novel. Every woman near Shen Zhao suffers misfortune, becoming his stepping stone." I tried to warn her, but she wouldn't listen, and left with Shen Zhao. With the drama over, everyone went home. The handsome youth had found a home. But the sickly old woman? No one wanted her. Who'd taken an extra mother? I, however, helped her up. Would you like to come home with me? My aunt said don't take men home. But she didn't mention women. I hope this is okay. I was lonely and just wanted a family. Someone to lean on. She wasn't grateful. She asked, do you have land, food? Do you have grain? You're an orphan. How will you survive? How can you support me? I don't want to be a burden. You should go. See, a kind soul always thinks of others first. She had nowhere to go, yet worried about me. I knew I chose right. I answered, I have a small field. 3 bushels of grain. I sell tofu for a living. I can support you. Her expression softened. But she hesitated. Then she asked, why take me in? What do you want from me? Honestly, I said, I'm an orphan. I just want a mother, an adoptive mother, a godmother. I want companionship. Someone to talk to. My only family was my aunt. And she passed last year. I just want family. Her expression softened further. Leaning on her cane, she stood. From now on, I am your godmother. I promise you. You won't regret this. I thought she was just being nice. She was in coarse clothes and seemed frail. I never imagined. She was incredibly skilled and well-traveled. Once home, she asked me to call her Auntie Yun. She kept to herself, resting quietly. She didn't order me around, but didn't talk much either. Until the day she could finally get up. I was heading to town to sell tofu. She said, I'll come with you. I thought she wanted to see the town. I didn't think much of it. At the stall, I gave her some silver. Auntie Yun, buy something nice for yourself. She accepted it, without hesitation, and headed into town. Chun, also selling tofu, saw this and mocked me. You're treating that old hag like your own mother? How stupid! What good will she do you? If it were me, I'd have thrown her out long ago. I didn't like that. Auntie Yun frowned. Your husband is useless. A grown man. Out in this sun. You're out here working hard. And he can't even help? Chun was newly married. Blissfully in love. She wouldn't hear a word against him. Smugly, she said, didn't you know? My husband is a scholar. He'll be a high official one day. He can't be seen doing menial work with him. I'll be a lady. She was clearly brainwashed. Nothing I said would get through. She chose him. If she wanted to spoil him, fine. But what she didn't know was that for the past month, her precious husband had been cornering me, asking for money for books and supplies, even promising to make me his concubine. Such a fickle man. And only Chun saw him as a treasure. When Auntie Yun returned, she'd only bought silk and thread. She said, I know embroidery. In your free time, I'll teach you. Once you're good, it'll pay better than tofu. She was being modest. She wasn't just good at embroidery. She was a master. Her patterns were exquisite. So lifelike. She even knew the difficult double-sided style. One of her pieces sold for half a tael. The embroidery shop owner begged her for more. Even city nobles praised her skill. I was stunned. Thread was cheap. Cloth was cheap. Cloth was cheap. But together they were worth so much. And she'd teach me? Scarcity creates value. Anyone can make tofu. So it's cheap. Few know embroidery. And even fewer are the skilled. So, it's valuable. With this money, you won't need to sell tofu. Just focus on learning embroidery. From then on, she taught me patiently every day. Not just me. Unmarried girls from nearby villages, seeing how profitable it was, came to learn too. Auntie Yun never charged tuition. She accepted everyone, taking them all as students. In the countryside, formality wasn't strict. We'd find a spot under an awning, use logs as stools, and have class. She taught us more than embroidery. She taught us to read and write, music, chess, calligraphy, painting. Her knowledge was vast. She often said the world is wide, and a woman's only path isn't marriage. Women can be officials like Zhu Tao, or soldiers like Hua Mulan, achieving great things, or like Kai Wenji, become a literary giant through talent. Husbands aren't a woman's sky. Sometimes they are a cage. Her words spread. Many fathers and brothers were displeased. Fewer girls came to learn. Pressured by their families, they stayed home to await marriage. Criticism of Auntie Yun grew, especially from Chun and Shen Zhao. He'd recently passed a provincial exam. Now a lady. She parroted everything he said, quoting him constantly. Shen Zhao said, "A woman's virtue is ignorance." And she repeated it endlessly. Every time she saw us, she'd sneer. What's the use of women studying? Taking the imperial exams? Fooling yourselves. This world belongs to men. Women are born to depend on them. I asked Auntie Yun, after all you did for this school, they still left. And you're just getting hate. Do you regret it? She shook her head, smiling warmly. No. If they can learn right from wrong, understand some truths, it's worth it. Rome wasn't built in a day. And I have you. You've been working hard all this time, haven't you? I had tried to persuade Chun to join us, but she refused, and even told Shen Zhao I was out to get her. In the days that followed, I focused on my studies, while Chun busied herself throwing mud into my yard, as if to prove her loyalty to her husband. I'd barely open my books when mud from Chun would dirty my clothes. Auntie Yun told me not to get angry or engage, just keep reading. But over time, it wore me down. I'd have to stop mid-chapter to change clothes. Seeing this, Auntie Yun opened our savings jar, selling embroidered handkerchiefs. We'd saved 8 taels of silver. She counted it out and said, "This is enough. Sell the house and the land. We're moving." I was confused. Isn't it good here? We have land, and it's peaceful. Auntie Yun replied, making money isn't to stand out among chickens, but to leave the flock entirely. You need a better environment to learn. I didn't fully understand, but I knew to trust Auntie Yun. Within 3 days, I'd sold the house and land cheap, rented an ox cart, and left the village with Auntie Yun. Chun heard about it and stood at the village entrance, laughing at me. "That old hag has you wrapped around her finger. You're even giving up your family home. You'll regret this. And when you do, you'll come crying to me." Shen Zhao, arm around Chun, sneered. "Ignore them. What can 2 women possibly achieve? They're delusional, but you're different. You have me. I'll make you a high official's wife. By then, using the money Chun made selling tofu, and his new status as a provincial graduate, Shen Zhao lived comfortably in the village. People greeted him as master graduate, and he let it go to his head, thinking far too highly of himself. He had no idea how vast the world was, and that provincial graduates were a dime a dozen. Nothing special. Auntie Yun took me to Lin Chang. She had an old acquaintance there, a teacher at the academy. When she introduced me, he exclaimed, "Madam Marquis, what are you doing here? His lordship has been searching for you the past 6 months." Auntie Yun raised a hand, signaling him to be quiet. "I don't want any trouble. He and I divorced. The world is vast. I am only myself now. He has no say in my affairs." The teacher hesitated, then conceded, "Even so, his lordship misses you deeply. And there's Miss Qingyuan, your own flesh and blood." Auntie Yun wasn't moved. Impatient, she cut him off. "Teacher Wen, I'm here today to ask you one thing. This is my goddaughter. I've taught her all I can. I want her to study with you at the academy, especially in governance. Will you accept her?" Only then did the teacher notice I was standing beside her. I was plain looking. Had Auntie Yun not pointed me out, he might have missed me entirely. He sighed. "Since you've adopted a goddaughter, you truly aren't returning to the manor?" Auntie Yun nodded calmly. "Going back to compete with a concubine? Beneath me." Teacher Wen said no more. He only tested my knowledge. Seeing I could answer well, he sighed again. "Such a fine mind. It's a pity she's a woman. If she could take the imperial exams, she'd surely become an official and do great things." Auntie Yun was unconcerned. "Women can be officials too. If she can't take the exams, she'll be recommended. I'll pave the way for her. There's always a way." Knowing her background, Teacher Wen said no more, and told me to follow him. Auntie Yun tried to pay him tuition, but he refused. "Your father was the emperor's tutor. All scholars are his students. How could I accept payment for teaching your goddaughter?" Auntie Yun's background was that impressive. Why then had she ended up in that desolate village? I was stunned. Auntie Yun didn't explain further. She just told me to go with Teacher Wen, study hard, while she'd stay in town with her embroidery business. On holidays, she'd pick me up from the academy. Another year passed, through all 4 seasons. I'd grown taller, and my knowledge had deepened. Auntie Yun, true to her word, refused to return to the capital, despite the Marquis's pleas. She focused on her embroidery, opening shops, and teaching the city's women to be self-reliant, not dependent on men. Because of this, she made enemies. Her shop's awning was broken several times, but each time she repaired it. She opened her doors again, continuing to teach poor women, unaffected by praise or criticism. She was truly extraordinary. With such a well-connected godmother, more and more matchmakers came seeking me, but they weren't interested in me. Only in Auntie Yun's influential family. Auntie Yun never pressured me. She left the choice to me. If you want to marry and live a peaceful life, stay here. From now on, you'll no longer be my goddaughter, but I'll give you this embroidery shop as a dowry, ensuring you never want for anything. But if you choose the thorny path, becoming an official, fighting for women's rights, then, old as I am, I'll be your stepping stone, helping you achieve your goal, so I can see, through you, what women in power look like. I was no longer the naive village girl I'd once been. I knelt and kowtowed to her. "Godmother, I want to be a female official. I want to fight for women's rights. I will never be any man's appendage. If I break this vow, May heaven strike me down. May I die a miserable death. As Auntie Yun helped me up, her face was full of pride. You're stronger than my own daughter. That day, Auntie Yun told me a story. In her youth, she met someone, a close friend to her and the Empress Dowager. This person told them that women shouldn't be confined to the home, and spoke of equality. Places men could go, women could too. Though inspired, she was too timid to defy her family and married the Marquis. At first, they were happy together. But after he took a concubine, her feelings for him died. She'd resolved to endure it. But one thing shattered their relationship completely. Their daughter, Qingyuan. She didn't want her daughter to repeat her fate, trapped in a household after marriage, and wanted her to become a female official at court, even secretly arranging everything. But at the last moment, her daughter betrayed her, the legitimate daughter of the Marquis, instead of understanding her mother's efforts, told her father everything. The Marquis decided to betroth 13-year-old Qingyuan to a high official in Jiangnan. Qingyuan didn't regret it. She was happy with the arrangement. To her, marriage was obeying her father, and her father's word was law. She didn't know her future husband was old enough to be her father, with a house full of concubines and children. How could a 13-year-old girl handle a situation like that? What happened next? I couldn't help asking, though I already suspected. She died, Auntie Yun said, her voice cold. She was too young. After the wedding, they forced her to consummate the marriage. It damaged her health, with constant infighting in the household. Less than half a month later, she died. The officials said it was illness. 3 months after her death, he remarried to a woman her age. After that, I asked the Empress Dowager to grant me a divorce. I divorced the Marquis. The world is vast. I just want to be myself. Speaking of it, Auntie Yun's voice shook with anger, but also helplessness. This world reveres men above all. To them, women are livestock, playthings, nothing more. That night, Auntie Yun talked to me for a long time. She said, seeing me reminded her of her daughter. She couldn't change her daughter's fate, but she could change mine. Save one if she could. The next morning, I returned to the academy, studying harder than ever, early to rise, late to bed, often reading by lamplight. I studied what the men studied. No longer limited to embroidery and music, thanks to Teacher Wen's kindness. He let me study alongside the male students. Knowledge Auntie Yun had once wanted but couldn't attain, I was now learning. Several more years passed. As the imperial exams approached, Teacher Wen said to me, "There's nothing left I can teach you. Go to the capital with Auntie Yun." When I left the academy with my bag, Auntie Yun already had a carriage waiting. She was there. Over the years, with her own abilities, she'd opened embroidery shops across Jiangnan, becoming the most successful businesswoman there. Her ex-husband, the Marquis, had come by half a month ago, shamelessly asking for money, because his household had been in debt for years, unable to make ends meet. Auntie Yun, of course, threw him out, and because of that, her fame spread through Jiangnan. Everyone said, this Madame Yun had business acumen to rival any man, and helped countless poor women with her embroidery business, a true philanthropist. On the road, Auntie Yun told me of her travels. Her eyes shining, she was free. She was free. She never regretted divorcing the Marquis. When we stopped at an inn in the capital, I ran into my cousin Chun, whom I hadn't seen in years. We were the same age, but years of child rearing and housework had aged her far more than me. Gray hairs were already visible. I recognized her immediately. I leaned out of the carriage. "Cousin." Are you okay? Is Shen Zhao mistreating you? Chun stared, finally recognizing me. She looked me over, noticing my unmarried woman's hairstyle, and immediately sneered. You're still not married? You're practically an old maid. When Auntie Yun and I got down from the carriage, seeing our fine clothes, she wasn't happy for me, but sneered, well, you're still with that old woman. All dressed up. Did she marry some rich old man? Probably 1 foot in the grave to want her. After all these years, she was still so narrow-minded. Her world revolving around marriage. To her, a woman's success was always due to her husband, never her own efforts. I couldn't be bothered to argue. Think what you want. You're hopelessly narrow-minded. Hopeless. With that, Auntie Yun and I went into the inn. Auntie Yun was wealthy. We stayed in the best rooms. Chun's husband, Shen Zhao, was now a successful candidate. But all those years supported by Chun's tofu money meant he had nothing but his title. The family squeezed into a tiny, cramped room. Even in such a state, Chun tried to take advantage of me. When I left, she blocked the door, pretending to be kind. A woman's only path is marriage. At your age, still unmarried, you'll have nowhere to turn. Let me be your matchmaker. My husband has a good friend who likes educated women. I could put in a good word, have him take you as a concubine. She'd fallen into the mud herself and wanted to drag me down with her. I laughed out loud. Is being a concubine something to be proud of? I've studied for 7 years. Read countless books for what? To be a concubine? With that, I pushed her hand away without mercy and helped Auntie Yun into the carriage. Chun cursed us from behind, furious. I'm only trying to help you. If you don't marry, are you going to become an official? You'll come crying back to me one day. Her life carrying 1 child on her back, holding another in her arms, with 2 more tugging at her, while her husband ignored her hard work. That life, even if offered to me, I wouldn't want it. That day, Auntie Yun dressed me up carefully. I thought she was taking me to her family home, but I was wrong. She took me to the Western Palace to meet the Empress Dowager directly. Women can take the imperial exams, Auntie Yun said. So recommendation is the only way. I want the Empress Dowager to see your knowledge for herself. When the Empress Dowager saw Auntie Yun, her eyes reddened instantly. After all these years, Yun, you've finally returned to the capital. Stay a while this time, won't you? Auntie Yun's eyes reddened too. She gestured to me. Your Majesty. This is Ashin's niece. When I found her, Ashan was already gone. Over the years, I taught her to read and write, and found her the best teachers. Now, she's my goddaughter. Only then did I learn that my transmigrator aunt was so remarkable. In her youth, she was a close friend to the Empress Dowager and Auntie Yun. So, Auntie Yun's appearance at our village wasn't a coincidence. She'd traveled a long way to find my aunt, seeking refuge, only to learn she had passed. In despair, she'd wanted to die. Until she met me. I passed up a handsome man to save her. And I was close in age to her daughter, which rekindled a spark of hope in her. And so, our mother-daughter bond was formed. The Empress Dowager looked me over carefully, then questioned me at length about my studies, testing my knowledge. In the end, she was very pleased. I've been needing someone like you. I'll give you 2 choices. Become an imperial consort, and keep an eye on the emperor for me. Make sure he doesn't do anything foolish, or stay in the court and speak for all the women who have been wronged. I chose the second without hesitation. I will speak for the women. And I was right. This was also a test from the Empress Dowager. The emperor never lacked for women to advise him. She wanted to see if I'd choose a harem. And my choice clearly pleased her. I had no interest in being a concubine, even to the most powerful man in the world. The Empress Dowager immediately decreed that I be appointed to the Ministry of Rights, breaking precedent, naming me a fifth-rank assistant minister, specifically in charge of establishing schools for girls. Indeed, the Empress Dowager didn't just want female officials, she wanted to create schools for girls, so women could learn to read and write, understand the law and propriety, and no longer be ignorant and weak. I next saw Shen Zhao and Chun. 3 months later, Shen Zhao, true to his role as the novel's male lead, was actually an ordinary scholar, but by currying favor with Prince Rui, he was recommended and became the top scorer. For a time, he was celebrated, frequenting the prince's manor. Rumor had it Prince Rui wanted to betroth his second daughter, Princess Anning, to him. Shen Zhao immediately decided to demote his wife to concubine, ignoring Chun's protests, forcing her, his first wife, into the role of concubine, and making his children illegitimate. After Princess Anning entered the household, Shen Zhao became even worse, forcing Chun to bring the children to pay respects to the princess daily. He even found Chun, his lowly concubine, embarrassing, and repeatedly pressured her to drown herself, asking why she wouldn't just die. This time, Chun finally stopped believing that a husband is everything. After accidentally falling into a lake, no one came to save her. She had to struggle ashore herself. Stumbling, she ran to me, crying, and begged, "Cousin, you're an official now, so much better than me. Please, save me, I don't want to die." Seeing her heartbroken, I sighed. "I warned you back then. He wasn't the one to save. But you wouldn't listen." I gave her a way out. Kneel before the palace gates, where officials pass each morning, holding the accounts of all the money she'd spent on Shen Zhao. Demand that this heartless man repay her and divorce him. She should also submit a formal complaint against him, which I would present to the Empress Dowager. Chun agreed. She no longer cared about saving face, only wanted to fight for her children's survival. She did as I said, kneeling before the palace with her four children, showing her scarred hands, the marks of years of caring for Shen Zhao and managing the household, and tearfully denounced his cruelty. Word quickly reached the Empress Dowager. When she ordered me to investigate, I helped Chun to her feet. "You can go home now. Leave the rest to me." As Chun led her children away, she kept looking back. I think she finally regretted it, and finally understood how important it is to be educated and capable. What followed was simple. Shen Zhao, unworthy of his position, the novel's supposed male lead, was stripped of his title by the Empress Dowager, expelled from the palace, and blacklisted for life. After Shen Zhao was driven out, the Empress Dowager issued another decree, ordering him to divorce Chun and repay all the money she had earned over the years. Every last coin. Shen Zhao was furious, but helpless, with no way to make a living. After the divorce, he couldn't repay the debt, and could only owe it, repaying slowly. In this situation, Prince Rui had Princess Anning divorce him too, and return home. Shen Zhao became a pariah, despised by all. The male lead, Shen Zhao, was utterly ruined. No one knew. If not for my aunt's warning, I would have taken him in and become one of the novel's heroines. Another stepping stone for him. I would have followed the plot, borne his children, managed a household, earned money for his exams, only to be demoted to concubine and die alone in his backyard. My aunt's appearance didn't just change my fate, but also Shen Zhao's ending. She awakened the Empress Dowager and women like Auntie Yun, trapped in their homes, teaching them to say no to man, to fight for their rights, so women in this harsh world could find shelter from the storm. After I established myself at court, Auntie Yun left the capital. She returned to Jiangnan, sold all her property, and donated the proceeds to the government-funded girls' schools. She stayed in Jiangnan teaching, becoming a respected teacher. I never married. Step by step, From 5th rank assistant minister, I rose to director of the ministry, vice minister, and finally, minister of rights. One step at a time. I steadily advanced towards the pinnacle of power, always speaking for the countless women of the world, setting an example for them. More and more women enrolled in schools. And the Empress Dowager, breaking precedent, established imperial examinations for women. More and more women entered the court. And women's status in our dynasty rose ever higher. Women could go into business and stand on their own 2 feet, with marriage no longer their only option. The story ends here. Thank you for listening on our channel. Please hit like and subscribe to motivate us to produce more great stories.